Welcome back to the Brick Vista Wire Academy. I'm Tonic Thunder, and today we're setting up 4 things. Lights for a structure, a target that rewards you with a potion, a simple music player, and finally, a trap that sets off an alarm. These are missions I assigned in Lesson 1, where I go over the very basics of wires. If you haven't watched that yet, I recommend it before diving in here. And if you don't, I'm not responsible for any damages. Save that for the courtroom. Let's get started with Mission 1, lighting up a structure. So when you trip over something visible, you have no excuse. Ideally, you already have a structure that you want to light up. For this video, we're going to use the Wire Lab. My environment settings have the time of day set to 0 so we can see what our lights are doing. Let's select a brick to use as our light source. I'll go with this 1x1 cone brick. For our purposes, I'll rotate the cone brick upside down and place it on the ceiling. Now, with the applicator, we'll add a point light to the brick we're using as our light source. I'll increase the brightness and radius until the light affects the room how I'd like. If you already have bricks placed that you want to use as your light sources, you can use the applicator to copy and paste component settings to them. Hover over your brick with the light source and press Ctrl-C. Then, hover over a new brick and press Ctrl-V. You can do this as many times as you'd like. Once all of your light sources are set up, the next step is to add the light switch. I'll use a basic 1x1 brick and build a column for our switch. We'll rotate the switch and place it on the column. Now we can use rerouters to direct the wire up the column. Once the rerouters are in place, we can connect a switch to them and send wires to our light source bricks. All we have to do is connect our wires to the enabled property on each light source. I have the first 3 light bricks wired up now, and we can turn them on and off with our switch. Using rerouters, we can repeat this wiring process for the remaining lights, allowing us to turn all of them on and off. The last step is to set up a variable brick that will let us control the brightness of every light in the room. We'll add the variable brick near the switch for easy access. And now we're just going to set up rerouters for the wires that we need to run. To keep things simple, we're going to be running the green wires from the variable brick right next to the red wires from our light switch. Now we can repeat the same exact process, only this time we'll be hooking up the green wire to the brightness property on our light sources. Once all of the green wires are hooked up, we can access the variable with the applicator and change the number to adjust the brightness of every light brick at once. Before we move on to Mission 2, here's a bonus tip. Using the applicator, you can make bricks invisible by disabling the visibility property. This will also hide the wires connected to them. If we set all of our rerouters to invisible, we can hide all the wires on the ceiling, looking much cleaner. Now that you can see what you're doing, let's make violence the answer with Mission 2, the target potion reward. Let's start by setting up our target. We'll get a simple 1x1 brick and build a short column. Then we'll place our target on the column. Now let's get the one-shot audio player from the catalog and place that under your target with the input facing up. Using the applicator, select the one-shot audio player and click Edit on the component that it came with. Now we can change the sound effect. Next, we can hook up the target to the input of the one-shot audio player. Now let's pull a weapon from the catalog and shoot the target. So far, so good. Now we need to set up the potion spawn point. Let's get a 1x1 plate from the catalog. Create a small platform, then select it with the applicator. Click the plus and scroll down to add the item spawn point component. Click Edit on the component, and then change what item should appear. Look for the potion in the catalog and select it. Now take note of this pickup property. If we turn it on or off, it will allow or disallow a player to pick up the potion. This is the property we need to wire our target to. Now that we know this, let's pull out the connector again. Click the target, then click on the item spawn platform. This list shows the properties available in the item spawn point component that we just set up. We'll select the pickup property. Now when we shoot the target, it plays a sound and allows us to pick up the potion. However, we don't have a lot of time to pick it up. To fix that, select the target with the applicator and click Edit. Now, let's change the target's active time to 3 seconds. If we shoot the target now, the signal will stay active for 3 seconds, giving us time to pick up the potion and drink it to our heart's content. We figured out how to use violence to heal ourselves. Great. Let's cool down and make a music player in Mission 3. I'll start again by building a short column using the 1x1 brick. Next, let's set up the button that we'll press to play the music. Search through the catalog for the audio player. We'll place this above the button. Using the applicator, click on the audio player, then click Edit on the component. Feel free to pick anything you'd like. Take note of this enabled property. This will let us turn the audio on and off. Now, with the connector, click on the button and send the wire to the audio player. We'll wire it to the enabled property we just saw. Now, when we press and hold the button, the music will play. When we let go of the button, the music will stop. As a little bonus, let's rewire this using a switch instead. Instead of having to hold the button down, using a switch here will let us toggle the music on and off. Music is relaxing, so let's ruin the peace and set up a trap. Using a 1x1 plate, I'll start by making a simple platform. Then, using a 1x1 brick, I'll create 4 columns on each corner of the platform. To finish it off, I'll use the 1x1 brick again to add a roof. Then, create a smaller plate on the ceiling inside. Switch over to the paint tool. Hold E to select a new color, and select a red. Then paint that smaller ceiling plate we just placed. Now that we have the structure of the trap created, we need to add components to make it function. Using the applicator, let's start by adding a point light to the red plate on the ceiling. Feel free to adjust the settings as you'd like. This is the light that will turn on when a player triggers the trap. Then, select the bottom platform with the applicator and add the touch component. This will let us use the platform as a trigger. Now with the connector tool, select the platform brick. The list that appears will show you the properties in the touch component. Let's wire the touching property, send the wire to the red ceiling plate, and connect it to the enabled property in the point light. Now, when we step on the plate, the light above will turn on and off. We're almost there. Now we just need to add a speaker that plays the alarm. Search for it in the catalog, then place it somewhere on top of the trap so it's out of sight. Using the applicator, select a speaker, click Edit, and select an alarm sound effect. Just like the music player we made earlier, we'll wire the touch plate to the enabled property on this speaker. Now, when we step in the trap, the touch plate triggers the red light and plays the alarm. Remember earlier how I mentioned you can make a brick invisible to hide wires? Let's do that here. Hiding the wire to the speaker is simple enough. We can just make the speaker invisible. But for the red light, let's use a rerouter. Rewire the touch plate to connect to a rerouter first, and then to the red light. Now we can make the rerouter invisible to hide the wire. And this finalizes our simple trap. Still usable, and no wires in sight. Everything we just completed utilizes the very basics of wires in Brickadia. When you're ready to level up, the next video will cover logic gates, the first step to making your builds smarter and more interactive. I'll see you there.